negotiations are proceeding at a good pace. We already had 5 rounds of negotiations. We recently exchanged the first market access offers to each other. There obviously still lots of ground to be covered, ensuring that our trade does not lead to environmental degradation or reduction of labor standards or other negative externalities. Discussions will be needed on exact scope of the agreement. Negotiations are proceeding at a good pace. We already had 5 rounds of negotiations. We recently exchanged the first market access offers to each other. There are obviously still lots of ground to be covered, also on the scope of agreement. So on the EU side, we are typically working on what we call deep and comprehensive free trade agreements, covering a broad range of areas, including, for example, sustainability, ensuring that our trade does not lead to environmental degradation or reduction of labor standards or other negative externalities. So there are still many areas we need to cover. There is also discussions will be needed on exact scope of the agreement, and so therefore we are not setting now a specific deadline. As we say in the EU, it's substance over deadline. So we need to get substance right to be able to conclude, but there is willingness from both sides to work intensively to do it without undue delay. As you know, in the EU and I would say in a broader Western democratic world, we have responded very forcefully, putting pressure on aggressor Russia by sanctions, also providing necessary support to Ukraine. We are aware that many countries have not joined those sanctions, including large countries like China, like India. We are obviously raising those topics also in our discussions, also in the context of sanctions circumvention, because we believe, especially in case of democratic countries, it's important that we work together and preserve the international rules-based order. In this more conflictual geopolitical context, it's important that like-minded partners, democratic countries work together, and EU and India are 2 world's largest democracies. So it's important that we are working together. We see India as a strategic partner, and indeed, when we discuss, for example, global food security issues, also in the context of now Russia's weaponization of its of the food supplies and blocking the Ukrainian food exports, we know that the countries which are suffering from this is not only Ukraine, it's also many developing countries for whom it becomes food security and food affordability issue. So we need to work together to seek to address this and ensure both energy and food security across the world.